Could you tell us when you first heard about the camp?
I'm not sure when I first heard about it. Might have been '84, but a girlfriend at the time was going out, and maybe that same summer. It's been 22 years. I think maybe that same summer, at the end of the summer, I decided to go, and I didn't really know a whole lot about it till I landed there.
And you were coming from where?
I was coming from Oakland, California, and it was just amazing to land there. You know, there was the kind of communal kitchen, and everybody was sleeping in tents in the woods, and so it was kind of a mix of powerful women's community next to this depot, next to this army depot that was like, you know, we really perceived as toxic and challenging. So it was like incredible safety next to a really challenging, difficult, antagonistic dynamic.
Had you traveled by yourself to come up?
I don't remember. I don't know.
Did you know?
I showed up there. I did. I had a girlfriend there. I think I was chasing her down. She probably had 3 or 4 other girlfriends, and I missed her. Wanted to go be one of the many.
Uh-huh. And so what was your first impression when you got there?
It was really different. It was, you know, it was a cultural shift. You had to kind of get into the peace camp vibe, you know, the kind of communal eating, communal work. I had done political action before, so that wasn't new. The kind of the chants, the songs, the focus on action, that work. I think it was pretty thrilling.
Do you remember bringing something very special to the camp yourself?
I think so. I can't really remember a chronology, but I can tell you some powerful moments. How about that?
That's great.
Okay. Let me help you out here.
What year is it? I don't even know.
What's that?
What year are we?
1985. You know, I only went one summer, and it was a summer that changed my life. It was a really powerful switch from growing up in a white middle-class environment and being going through all the things you go through in that world, and then breaking through and living a summer with anarchists from Greenham. So I was really influenced by the women who were there that summer. It was a really powerful summer. I came only knowing my girlfriend, and I left having a family of and incredible experiences. And some of the most powerful experiences for me were the rituals. We did rituals on the land, and I think that was the first summer I started doing fire walking. And I think over that summer and the next year I did about 12 fire walks. But we did a fire walk there on the land, and I think it was just a small group of us, like 10 of us, 12 of us, not very big. But I think we were really focused on working our magic. Use the magic to transform the depot, you know, so you can go over and you can do direct action, or you can really work on the ethereal plane and do magic. And we're a powerful group of witches that were there. Some of the women I'd worked with for quite a while, so we knew how to do magic. So the fire walk was an incredible time. You know, of course, we're singing and we're chanting and we're raising energy and we're focusing it on the depot, and everybody's walking across the fire. It wasn't that big of a fire, but I think at one moment I was so inspired I threw off my shirt and rolled across it. And what was so cool was that the burn that I got on my shoulder was in the shape of a dragon head. Or at least I was convinced for at least 10 years that the burn on my shoulder was a dragon head. But a lot of the time, you know, we were talking about, you know, how to live together, how to work together. But what I remember mostly were the actions. I did one action. I had a wicked crush on one of the Greenham women. And we got up really early one morning. And we walked down the side of the depot, and we took our carpet squares and threw them over and scrambled over. And then we took the fire walking charcoal, and we were headed for their communications tower, and we wanted to leave a message on the communications tower. So we took our fire walking charcoal and we walked in the very deep grass through the, you know, the dew and the cold morning, and went to the tower, and we wrote, you know, all over the tower, transform, peace now, end to war. You know, we wrote all over the cement base. Then we kind of looked around, there was nothing more to do. So then we kind of walked out. And right as we got to the edge, one of the Jeeps started coming around, and we were in an open field. So the Greenham woman I'm with is much more experienced than me. She goes, "Go ahead, run." So I run for all I'm worth, and you know, struggle to climb up the chain link fence and go over and throw myself down and run across the street and throw myself in a ditch so they can't see me, right? And she doesn't come behind me. She's nowhere. So I'm like, oh no, what do I do? But I know, you know, I just trust. She's from Greenham. She's way smarter than me, you know. So I kind of walk home because we didn't want anybody to notice. So I walk back to the house. I'm only about half a mile away. And finally she shows up about an hour later. She had hidden for that time. And the guys in the Jeep had come and checked it out because the carpet was still there, right? And so she had to make her way over the barbed wire without the carpet. And I said, "Wow, that was a great action, huh?" And she looks at me and she says, "You are the noisiest person I have ever done anything with." And I said, "I'm sorry, I'm hard of hearing." I thought I was so clandestine. I thought I was so brilliant. And I was horribly noisy. But a really cool action was when we all went to the front gate. That was, we snuck over a couple of times. We snuck over and did rituals. But to be more forthright, we went in the front and we had, you know, we were decked out and we had signs and we chained ourselves and some women chained themselves to the gate. Most of us just sat in front. I think we're dragged away. And we sang and we sang and we sang. Another action that I remember was, again, with two Greenham women, we were going to spray paint. I think we were going to spray paint the street in front of the opening of the depot, and we're dressed all in black. And, you know, I'm a real inexperienced anarchist. So we had gloves on, rubber gloves probably, and all dressed in black, and we all had our spray paint, and we're walking down the side of the street trying to be discreet. And the sheriff had just been really pushed to get rid of those, you know, peace camp women. They're really a pain in the butt. The army had been really pushing them. So I'm walking along and we start spray painting. Shh, we're spray painting, you know, peace now, no war, the depot must go, whatever it is, we're spray painting. And all of a sudden this car comes up. So for some reason, I whip my rubber gloves off and then I pick up the spray paint and I get paint all over me. But luckily I have a sweatshirt on, so I stick my hands in my sweatshirt. So the sheriff comes over and he pulls me into his car and he sits me in the front seat and he goes, "What have you been doing?" And I lie. "Nothing, just, you know, out." He goes, "You can't be doing nothing, you know, you from that camp?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, what do you do?" And I said, "Well, I work with kids. I work with emotionally disturbed kids out in the Bay Area." He goes, "You do? You know, I've been having a lot of trouble with my son." I said, "Tell me about it." So he starts to tell me about his son and the challenges he's having with his son, and I start to coach him and start to give him ideas for how to handle his son. So after about a half hour he says, "Go get out of here. I just needed to give you some trouble so the army won't bother me anymore." I'm like, "Cool." And I like whip my hand out of my sweatshirt with my paint all over it, shake his hand, and jump out of the car. Those are some of my favorite memories. You have to ask me a question now. I don't remember anything else. We sang, we sang, we sang, we sang.
Reba, you did a skit by yourself about the early times.
Oh, the burning times, yes. Inspired by Mary Daly's work. I'd been doing a lot of drama and theater before that. And so, yeah, when I came, I had been working around issues of Vandenberg Air Force Base and, you know, all the issues that had been out here. U.S. out of El Salvador, stop apartheid. I can't remember the order of anything and where peace camp came in. You know, it was the 80s, right? It was the mid-80s and we were doing all of those and the chants and the songs and the political action work. And I had affinity groups here and I'd gone through all the trainings and stuff. But yeah, I had done a witch's song. I'd identified myself as a witch. And that was what was so amazing about Seneca Women's Peace Camp, is most people were a witch. Maybe not everybody identified, but most of the lesbians did. And we did really powerful ritual, and we had fires, and we all fell in love. Everybody fell in love with everyone. Everybody was in love with 2, 3, 5 people, And we'd sit by the fire and spin stories and spin songs, and I'm sure I did my it was a skit. It was I am a healer, and these are my hands. Oh, I'll have to work on remembering it. But it's about being a healer, about being a witch.
You were dressed as a witch, and you did a whole dance along with it as you spoke it. I remember being so impressed by it. I think that was one of the first times I saw you. Was when you were doing that.
Yeah. It's a powerful time. It was powerful.
It was very powerful.
Yeah. I had just come from doing a theater, political theater training kind of thing, where I did a bunch of work. So.
Were there new skills that you learned at the Peace Camp?
How to be in a threesome. Didn't know how to do that before.
Tell us about the threesome.
About the threesomes. Well, I could barely remember. There were a few. I mean, the truth was, there was just so much love. For me, it was really unveiling, a really time of opening my heart, because I was really raised in a very patriarchal, very classic. My father's a classic patriarch. I was raised in a very classic middle-class, small-town, kind of closed-hearted spirit. So for me, it was really an open-hearted thing to really go into. How could we not? We were all in our 20s. How could we not? We were doing this powerful work, living on the edge, living out and doing work that we felt passionate about. And so, yeah, many people fell in love with many people. And it actually took a lot of time. It actually pulled a lot of energy away. If we truly understood, like some of the women in the circle really understood how to be non-monogamous. But if more of us understood it, we probably would have wasted a lot less time with our feelings, right? Everybody, is so-and-so okay? So-and-so didn't look at so-and-so. Oh! But then what was amazing in '85 is we all went to the Michigan Women's Peace Camp. The Michigan Women's Festival. Should have been a peace camp. We made it a festival. We made it a festival. Poor Holly Near's up there singing, "We are," what is it? We are what? Angry people. And we're like, "We are an angry rowdy." We're out there like, protesting Holly Near. We were like that rad. Standing out there going, peace camp now, be angry, be loud.
Shameless hussies.
Sneaking in, half the people snuck in, sneak into the women's, festival.
Tell about having the peace camp come to your family's house.
Well, then a life-altering event was that, about 15 women came to my small town. And my father didn't know I was a lesbian, but he figured it out. Or no, I guess he figured it out. The first thing everybody did when they got to, we had this little cottage right on Lake Michigan. The first thing everybody did is pull the flag down.
Wait, can we just back up?
Get rid of that American flag.
How did it come that 15 peace camp women?
I invited them.
You did. Okay.
I invited them. Hey, I live nearby. Y'all want to come to my house? Were you there? And you were there.
I was there.
Were you there?
You were there.
Really?
And I can think of
You were there.
5 other people who were there.
You didn't come.
This is like 4 of us.
I heard about it.
Were you there?
It had to be more than 15.
Yeah, Estelle was there.
I was there.
You were there.
Mike was there. Laura was there. Fish was there.
Becky was there.
Helen.
Tell Tall Helen, Todd,
Todd.
Lindsay,
Lindsay, I mean, that,
Gail.
all right, we're
Who?
already past Gail Walker.
Gail.
It was more than 15.
So it made perfect
Kai
sense.
was
First
there.
we went to
Kai
your
was
house,
there.
Kai.
Was Luna there? Luna.
Luna was there.
Oh yeah, because Raquel was there.
Okay.
Raquel was there.
So it made perfect
Right,
sense.
well, I think I invited everybody. I called home and said, hey, can I bring a few friends home? Sure, so everybody left the space on the lake, and, then people just took it over in our Peace Camp way. We took over the space, and there
Didn't
were
we go
houses
to your home in
nearby.
town first?
I think we went to my home in town first,
Yeah.
where someone was rude to my father immediately. So my
Yeah,
father was on notice. And then, oh Lord, okay, so we go out there and people start taking down, the flags and making out, everywhere. Everybody's like naked and making out everywhere. And so all the neighbors, all the locals are like stumbling across these women, and then, so it was a couple of days, 3 or 4 days.
And then a couple of women went in town.
And then a couple of women went to Muskegon, and one of them got arrested for shoplifting and just used my name. It just occurred to her. She just pulled a name out of the air, and it was mine, I think. And so I don't remember how we got out of that one. Bail?
We get a lawyer or something.
Did we get a
I
lawyer?
think we raised money.
We raised money?
And
Left
a
town?
lawyer. Yeah, because I remember.
I do not remember that one. I remember leaving town. My father didn't speak to me for 2 years, by the way. 2 years. Which, again, takes a lot of energy to, not have somebody talk to you. But 2 years later, we're good now. We're good. 25 years, 22 years have happened. But then we got into the pickup truck with Amazon Witch sprayed it on side. Has somebody else told this story? Oh, this is a good story. You were there. Yes. No. How many of us? 5 or 6? We had an open-backed pickup truck
think
with
it was
Amazon
6.
Witch sprayed on the side. 5?
5 or 6.
I think. Yeah, 3 in front, 2 or 3 in the back. And we just made our way cross country, liberating gas at we liberated all kinds of things. Yes, we did. And we found our way to New Mexico, where we were totally unconscious about what the word witch meant to the Native American community. So we pulled up with our truck with the words Amazon Witch. Yeah. And so
what was
I
the
think we
reaction?
covered it at one point. We got wise. Somebody came up and educated us. I think.
What was the reaction?
The word witch wasn't seen as a positive thing, and I think we were told to fall into culture, fall into community, or move on. Which we wanted to be. It was a funky one because somebody had buried a skull under one of the 4 posts. Somebody had done some bad magic that particular Sundance. It was a men and women Sundance, and it was just a little weird. We were trying to blend and try to bring our community, but we had to really fall back. I think we stayed. And then we decided we were going to go to the Four Corners to the Dene land and support their work there. And we showed up late at night. Do you remember this? And fell asleep out in the land, and we woke up to a jet coming over our head. It felt like you could reach up and touch it. It was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. Right there, this jet, right over us, because they were, doing their thing. It was near an Air Force base, I assume. So just as we're waking up, a little dehydrated, hadn't really gotten up or handled anything, the sheep are out. Oh. We're gonna go help get the sheep. All these Peace Camp women from all over the world. Like 6 of us are gonna go help and herd these sheep. Well, we start after the women whose land it is, we start after, and the sheep are like miles away. We're in the desert. I don't think I've ever been more thirsty in my entire life. We were so dehydrated we got sick. And so we ended up not only not helping we were like, trouble! You know, we like showed up, got dehydrated in the first couple hours. Yeah. So it was an adventure. It was a transformative adventure, absolutely. And, you know, kind of started with all the actions at Seneca. I'm sure there were many more, but those were the few. Maybe some of you remember some, I don't know. But, and then we went to the Michigan Festival, and then we traveled across the country. Then we went to New Mexico, and then we just kind of disbanded. I hitchhiked back to California with one other woman. But it totally changed my world.
Can you tell specifically how?
Well, I think I really got the values much more deeply embedded in me to really question the patriarchy, to understand how to do actions, to you certainly got a lot of practice in magic. I think it really aligned my values, kind of cleared away some of the cobwebs, cleared away some of my old beliefs. So it impacted me very personally. I can't remember the kind of the chronological, you know, the actions after that. I'm sure I stayed in the mix. I mean, I'm still in the mix. I have 2 little kids. I took my daughter when she was 2 to one of the actions, but it was really hard. It's hard to have an infant at an action, you know, change diapers, deal with everything while you're in the middle of a couple 100,000 people, you know, it just becomes literal after time.
So can you speak to any parts of it that have like informed your present life in a major way?
Well, I would like to say it maybe had more impact. I live a middle class life now, pretty much. I have a house, I have a car, I recycle. I vote progressively, you know. I'm conscious, but I'm not on the radical front line. I live in magic now. It's wired in me to know spirit and work with spirit. But I'm not on the edge anymore. I'm not living in community in that way. I miss it. I love that. Why don't y'all just stay right here and we'll... I don't sing the songs as much. I miss the songs. Oh my God. I used to know hundreds of songs. We'd sit. I knew every song, every tune. I love to sing. So I'd say it really changed me personally, really radicalized me. And I can't say that I live that anymore. Can I answer your question again? I just remembered when I came back in '85, I immediately started martial arts. That's how I started. And then I studied martial arts for 16 years. And I also studied feminist shamanic healing for about 8 years or so, and then taught it. So I think that's what it was. That's what I did. I became a martial artist and a, you know, kind of a shamanic healer, a hands-on shamanic healer. And I did that for probably 15 years. So I kept teaching myself skills. I know I was conscious of thinking, you know, the world will be coming to an end and we'll all need to be able to heal and transform at that time. So I gathered skills. I also did clowning at that point. So I kind of just got involved in theater, healing, martial arts, and working with kids. So I was very industrious.
Yeah. Hey, were there any things that were uncomfortable at the camp?
I'm sure the beds were.
What beds?
We ran out of, you know, glow-in-the-dark paint. I'm sure there wasn't enough chocolate. I don't remember. You know, I'm sure some people were a pain in the ass. That doesn't stick out to me, though.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure we were trying to come to consensus. I'm sure there were a lot of annoying processes. I'm sure the food sucked periodically. But it was just such a time of passion and joy that doesn't stick out in my feeble memory.
Was there ever a time when you were fearful?
Sure. Yeah. Plenty of times. What did we do? I could just remember we went back. We were going to try to cut through the gate with, you know, cut through the fence. What are those things called?
Bolt cutters.
Bolt cutters, right. I'm sure we've got a song with bolt cutter in it, right? We were trying to cut into the back gate at one point and trying to get in. Yeah, you didn't want to be caught. Plenty of times, lots of fear. I think I don't remember that so much. We lived with a lot of bravado. Don't you think?
Yeah.
We were just tough-ass girls thinking we were indestructible. But yeah, there was a lot of fear.
Yeah.
I think you've got everything out of me now. Unless you remember something like you said before. If we do a gather thing, maybe I'll almost remember my witches.
Do you ever tell your children about the peace camp?
What's that?
Do you ever tell your children about the peace camp?
I have not. No, my daughter's only 4. But I'm sure.
The music is good.
I'm sure at some point.
The music would probably be great for children.
You're saying the music would be
Oh,
great.
the music would be great. I really wanted a daughter and prayed very hard, manifested her, because somebody told me we were told we were going to have a son, and so we had a daughter, and then we were going to have a second child, and I was like, oh shit. But you know what? I love that little boy. He's just love. I'm just so thrilled with him. But we were separatists there for a while, in the camp and after that. But, and I really wanted a girl child, and I'm happy I have one because she's a live wire. She's going to change the world, I have no doubt. So I will tell her the stories, but I'll tell her them within a context that I think she can understand. I don't think, it's not time to take it in. We don't really bring war into our house right now. We don't bring the struggle. We don't bring the war. We don't bring the hatred, which is what we were counterbalancing. But I'm really happy to raise a sweet little boy. So we'll see. Hopefully everything... I felt when she was born that everything I've learned is to raise her. And so it's the same for my son now. So I'd say that's also influenced me.
Can you talk a little bit about the move away from separatism? What prompted that?
Well, I don't think I'm wired to be separatist. I'm not really wired to, in the same way I spoke about my father or the other thing, I'm not wired to repel something. That's not what I'm about. I'm a naturalist. You bury things. You move them out of toxicity. You transform. And so to be a separatist, you actually have to spend the energy to keep yourself away from. Now, I certainly have evolved my world where I have, very few men friends. But I worked with a lot of men, and I worked with a lot of boy children. And some of them were really okay. So to me, in my personal life, it was comfortable to make the choice. I mean, when I was younger, I was very conscious about not allowing the toxicity in the same way that I don't feed the spirit of Jesus. Jesus gets enough juice in this lifetime. Let's feed this fear and send energy to the goddess, because they're all alive, whether it's Buddha or Jesus or the goddess or Kuan Yin, they're all alive. It's what you, in my world, the fabric, what the quilt or the fabric is, what do you pull? There's this incredible quilt, and we're just pulling on a tiny little thread. So which threads do I want to vibrate and pull on? I want to vibrate the goddess. I want to vibrate women. I want to vibrate healthy children in conscious transformation. I don't want to vibrate, I don't want to push hate or exclusion, because I have to feed it, And so all that toxicity, all the magic that we did was to transform the depot, which happened, right? It was transformed. It was turned into something else. We turned, bombs into flowers. And that's the incredible magic of women's power, is to do that long-lasting, deep energy work. And some people don't believe in magic. And that is something I'm teaching my daughter to understand. And it's a little hard, because magic is not always tangible. It takes time to manifest. But she has a magic wand. And we throw papers up and watch it fly. Look, it's magic. And we do rituals, and she has a rattle, and and we did rituals when they were born. So I think that's the work, that's the legacy to honor and allow, to let the river pass, to not get stuck. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Of course it does.
It's her life. It's fun with it.
But it was fun for a while, and it had its place. It had its place. I think the funniest thing about separatism to me was at one point when I was just understanding what it was, I said, "You mean I can't like John Denver?" That tells you how long ago.
Whether you're separatist or not, you can't like John.
Well, now I understand that.
absolutely disagree.
You
He's
can
got some good songs. You know, he's got some okay songs.
Yeah.
I fill up my senses, you know. We'll have to have a gather song of John Denver tunes.
Just John
Would you
Denver, I
lead
think.
it?
Sure.
Leaving on a Jet Plane was one of the first songs I ever learned on the guitar.
Leaving on a jet
Annie's
plane.
song.
You really
West Virginia, take me home. You know, what kind of song? Anyway, we don't have to belabor that. That was just meant to be funny.
And then it was.
That's not funny.
It's not funny. I'd like to remember that witch poem though.
I would love to too. I was so
must have it.
floored by it.
How does it start?
Let me try it again. I am a healer, and these are my hands. My hands work with the balance of light and darkness. My breath is my center. With breath, I like the fire. The fire is my hearth, and the hearth is my home. I go to the fields to gather weeds and grasses and bundle them to dry. And with these healing herbs, I heal, I transform. But few come now, as they are frightened of what the priest will say. Learned doctors and scholars try to take away our power. For the church sanctions murder, gay women and good witches killed by loyal decree. Soon they will come to my door, and with my sisters I ready my escape. For together we will transform our power. We are the flow and we are the ebb. We are the weavers, we are the web. The goddess was dismembered, but I will remember her. I will remember